All right, kick this thing off with some recognition here. November 7th team call. So last Tuesday was Halloween. So we didn't have a team call. So I was going to do a quick recognition just for the coaches that hit Success Club 10 last month. So we have at Success Club 10 last month, we had Lauren Lidieri, Brooke Reed, Kelly Marks. At 12, we had Celine Bacardi, Chris Bachlet, and Susanna Bell. At 12, we had Ashley Dyer. At 14, we had Ashley Dyer. Also at 14, Beth McDonald, Emily Crushore, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Jill Wagner. At 22, Olivia Brackett. And at 24 Success Club points, helping 12 new people, Ashley Feld-Dyson, crushing it. And then as far as Success Club so far for the month, we have we got Jessica Health Pop at 6. We got Chris Bachlet at 6. We got Delaney Cleason at 7. We got Ashley Feld-Dyson at 8. We got Cassandra Schmelzinger at 9. And we got Michelle Humerit at 10. Killing it. All right. And then a ton of great photos in the Boom Fam before and afters of the 80-day obsession test group. The before and afters are insane. Like, I think this program is going to be pretty special. I think it's going to be like the first of some pretty cool things coming down the pipeline. Starting with this week with kind of the first ever live streaming workouts that Autumn's doing with like kind of a sneak peek of 80-day obsession, what they're calling a little obsessed, which they're doing every day at noon, 2 days into this thing. So those pictures are in there. Those are going to be great to start to share on your social media for people to start to get excited about this program that's coming out. The challenge packs, I believe, are going to be available December 14th. I got that written down. I'm going to double check that. But the program, I believe, doesn't come out until January 11th on Beachbody On Demand. But like, they can order the challenge pack to get the performance band riders. They can start ordering that on December 14th, I'm pretty sure. All right, hold on. Let me mute everybody here. All right, so those pictures are in there, and they're crazy. And then one last recognition. So we got the week leg volume recognition from last week with the 300 club. So these are the coaches that had over 300 team volume points in their week leg last week. So we got Allison Squires, we got Sydney Freeman, Nancy Nathan, Craig Schmidt, Beth Reelman, Second Business Center, Emily Bachlet, Sarah Olinsky, Susanna Bell, Brittany Miller, Brittany Oat, Melissa Hollenbeck, Cassandra Schmelzinger, Emily Crushore, Alyssa DeBee, Dave Yakel, Mary Beth Darling. In the 500 club, we got Casey Bachlet, Tim Ottaway, Nicoletta Sidowitz, Lauren Kellum, Pete Reelman, Caroline Nathan, Second Business Center, Michael Bachlet, Delaney Cleason, Margaret Mackerer, My Third Business Center, Joe Wagner, Beth McDonald, Michelle Katz, Tyler Smith, Brittany Dimmick, and Stacy Slade. In the 1,000 club, which I like to call the comma club because there's a comma added to that. I stole that from somewhere. I don't know where, but I liked it. So with 1,000 team volume points in their week leg, we got Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Brooke Reed, Charles Wallace, which is Chuck Wallace's, Andrea Wallace's husband. We got Joe Policino, the man, the myth, the legend himself. We got Gage Eckert, who is Amy Reelman's fiance. And then we got Shauna Valenta. We got Amy Reelman's Second Business Center. We got Caroline Nathan. We got Robert Rodriguez. We got Ashley Feld-Dyson. We got Danielle Hills. We got Chris Bachlet. And then in the 2,000 club with over 2,000 team volume points in the week leg, we got Amy Morgan, Marie Sardelli, Terry Bachlet, Wade Kephart, and Alyssa Sardelli. And then in the 5,000 club, we got My Second Business Center, Amy Reelman, Michelle Phillips, and Andrea Wallace. And then in the 10,000 club, we have myself, and at the top with over 16,000 team volume points in her weak leg, you may have heard of her, Beth Reelman. That's my mom. Killing it. All right. So that's the recognition, some good recognition going on there. So every year in the fall, there is what Beachbody calls the leadership retreat. Has I got everybody on here? Okay, cool. So they do it every fall, and it's usually, when I first was a coach, the first time I ever got to go was like back in 2012, and it was like you had to be like a 2-star diamond to go. I think back in 2011 you had to be like a diamond to go, and my mom went, and Terry, my aunt. And then recently, in the recent years, it's been you have to be a 5-star diamond to go to this leadership event. But the cool thing is that there's also a new leadership conference that's every February. So for the first time you guys hit 1-star diamond, and I think you have to have a certain amount of elite points as well, you get to go to the new leadership conference in February. So I know there's a bunch of coaches on Team Boom that qualified for the new leadership conference in February. I know Kelly Marks qualified for that. Yeah, I see you all the way in Nebraska. We'll see if she goes. Congratulations on the pregnancy, number 2 on the way. Exciting stuff. I know a couple other. I know Nicoletta Sidowitz qualified for the new leadership. Who else? Anybody else that you guys know of? Emily Crushore is going to be there. I know Amy Morgan's going to be there. So that's in February. But that's the new leadership conference. That's for 1-star diamonds and above. And then you have the leadership conference in the fall for the 5-star diamonds and above. And there's certain elite points you got to hit to qualify as well. And so I know that both of my sisters qualified, but Andrea decided to go to the UK. And then Amy and I went to the leadership to kind of like split forces on that. So Amy and I are going to share a little bit about what we learned. So we had obviously the top coaches are there, and they're sharing some of their best stuff. Carl spoke, Mel Robbins, the author, another author, I think his name was like Greg Jennings, New York Times bestselling author, spoke. So we're going to share some of the things we learned from them, from corporate, from the top coaches. And then you guys can maybe, if you guys have questions about anything, we'll save some time at the end for that. I guess I can kick it off, Amy, I'll just kind of go over like the first day was like the elite day, which was for all the elite coaches from the year before. And that's when they had this New York Times bestselling author that is like an expert on leadership. He got up and spoke. And I'm just going to pull up my notes here. So he and his team have researched 220,000 companies. They've done 65,000 studies, and he's interviewed with his team 18,000 CEOs, and he's wrote all these books. And he said that there's really 4 secrets to a successful team, to becoming a successful leader and building a successful team, a successful business, whatever it is, a successful church, a successful family. There's 4 secrets. After all of the research of 65,000 studies and 18,000 CEOs, he's boiled it down into these 4 secrets. So, secret number 1, leaders maintain engagement, performance, and growth by having, number 1 is a purpose built around doing well financially by doing good in the world. So a purpose built around doing well by doing good, doing a service to others. So a couple little bullet points he has around that first secret. They're bold, and it's not about what they do as much as why they do what they do. The non-financial reasons. The IKEA CEO, he's like one of the 10 richest guys in the world, right? So the IKEA CEO said, we're not in the business of furniture. We're in the business of serving the many, not just the rich. So his company isn't about furniture. His company has a purpose about serving as many people as he can, getting people the furniture that they need at a very, very low price. He's not increasing prices, and he's not looking to just increase profit. His number 1 goal is how can we lower the price of our furniture, because our purpose is to serve the many. Not a goal, but about a journey, giving meaning to people's lives. So the CEO of one of the biggest electronic companies in the world, not the sexiest thing to be a part of, to work for an electric company. And she went around the room. She was a brand new CEO, and she went around the room and she said to all her top people, like, what is it that we do here? And they went around the room and, gave their answers of what they said they did for this business. And she said, okay, great, but here's what we really do. We power people's lives. We power people's lives. 4 words that became the purpose of the company that is now the #1 electric company in the world. It does all the local electricity in around the city of Chicago. So again, like leading with a purpose. Your purpose needs to be brief and memorable. We power people's lives. It's pretty brief. It's pretty memorable. It's 4 words. A leader and the purpose, it shows deep conviction. It must evoke an emotional response. It will attract those who have that same emotional response to that same purpose that you have. So big thing here would be to make it short, make it brief, make it memorable, but also something that evokes emotion out of you. If it doesn't evoke emotion out of you, then it's not going to evoke emotion out of others. It's not going to be the thing that's going to attract people to you. So finding that purpose, again, doing well financially by doing good in the world, leading with that servant heart. And then the leaders, they're constantly talking about the purpose all the time, more than anything else, coming back to that purpose. So he also talked kind of along the lines of that. He talked about the 5 human needs. So there's 5 human needs, and I'm sure you guys have seen this thing before, but the first human need is food, like the physiological, just food for survival. Second is then shelter over your head. Third, once you have food and you feel safe, you have shelter, then you're looking for love and belonging. And then the 4th is, once you feel like you have that love and belonging, you're looking for, okay, I have a belonging. Now it's about my self-esteem. So the 4th is your self-esteem. And then the 5th is, okay, I feel like I have this love and belonging. I have high self-esteem. Then the 5th and the final is self-actualization, which is you want to become all that you can be. You want to hit all your top potential. So when you have a business with a purpose, you're going to be giving people love and belonging. You're going to be believing in them, telling them what you see in them. So it's going to help them create a stronger self-esteem. And then that's going to allow them to turn around and pay it forward. And that person is going to start to hit their full potential. So if you have a business with a purpose like the one that we have, you're going to hit all 5 human needs. You're going to help people pay for food, help them put a roof over their head. You're going to give them a sense of love and belonging. You're going to help them create a higher self-esteem, and you're going to help them with that self-actualization that makes them reach that full potential. You're going to hit all 5 needs. That's when you start to attract a lot of people into your business. So that's the first secret, a purpose built around doing well by doing good in the world. Secret number 2, make growth the reason for existence. So growth attracts the right people, engages and keeps the right people, improves the fortune of families, forces you to stay ahead of customers and clients, allows you to help more people, makes communities better places, and makes everyone feel part of a winning team. I like this part, right? This part I thought was really good. Leaders take people places where they would love to go, but they wouldn't be able to get there on their own. So I know that's true for me. Like, I look at Carl Deichler as a leader. What he's done has been able to help me do some things that I don't think I ever would have been able to ever do on my own. And that's what we get to do with people too. We get to help them get places and feel differently about themselves more than they ever would have on their own. So number 2 is make growth the reason for existence, constantly growing personally. Number 3 is letting go. And this is a good one for some of us. So letting go of yesterday's breadwinners. This is something that he said, the secret number 3, the leaders that don't adopt this 3rd one are the ones that go into extinction. They don't last because they weren't able to let go of the things that got them there. So letting go of yesterday's breadwinners, the things that got you where you are, you got to let go of them at times and reinvent. Let go of same old. Let go of your ego. Let go of conventional wisdom. The largest taxi company in the world has no cars. You guys know what company I'm talking about? Uber, right? Largest taxi company. All these taxi companies are going out of business because they just can't. They can't let go of the old. Largest hotel company in the world has no hotels. You guys know who that is? Airbnb. The most valuable retail store has no stores. Amazon. The largest gym in the world has no gym. Guess who that is? That's Beachbody. That's us. Pretty cool. So anyone unwilling to change is going to like extinction even less. And he said he saw a t-shirt that said, change is great, you go first. That's not good. Yes, change is great, but the whole change is great, you go first. You got to be, if you're going to be a leader on the cutting edge, it's yes, change is great, and you're going to be the one that goes first. Us together. I really like that anyone unwilling to change is going to like extinction even less. If you let go, you'll be better at innovation and growth. So that's secret number 3, letting go. And then the fourth and final secret, they don't see themselves as leaders. Crazy. They don't see themselves as leaders. Bill Gates said, I'm not a leader. They are what he calls good stewards. Does anybody know what a steward is? That was something I wasn't really sure what that was. I had to look it up. So a steward knows they are called to make everything better for everyone. Your coaches, your customers, Beachbody itself, the supplier, you, the world. This is something that he asks himself every day in the mirror over and over again. Will my life be more about me, or will my life be more about others? Great stewards do the following. They share information with everyone, even their competitors, are accessible and keep their hands dirty. You have to be talking to your customers and coaches all the time. The top CEOs spend half their time talking to their customers because that's where the heartbeat is of the business. They're fearless about growth. They stand for something. They have a fierce sense of urgency. Get rid of superficial distinctions. They live modestly because they're so comfortable in their own skin. They don't need to announce to the world who they are. They're on such a humble walk because their life is about others. Make everything better for everyone. They feel called to serve. These are just some of the things that all these top CEOs have in common. He always asks, this is the author, he said he always, when he's talking to someone or interviewing someone or just sitting next to someone on the plane, he always asks them, why do you do what you do? That's his first question. Why is it you do what you do? Maybe you guys don't know exactly what that is, and you got to come up with a brief, condensed, emotionally evoking phrase. But that's the first thing he asks is, why do you do what you do? And then once he finds out the answer to that, he'll decide if he wants to ask them what they actually do. But first he wants to know why. Why you do what you do. Bill Gates said, he asked that to Bill Gates. He got to interview him. And Bill Gates said, this company has given me the great opportunity to grow personally, professionally, and financially more than I ever thought. I do what I do because I have to make sure that the people here now and in the future have the same opportunity to grow. Leaders take people where they want to go but aren't able to get there themselves. So those are the 4 secrets. Number 1, a purpose built around doing well by doing good. Number 2, make growth a reason for existence. Number 3, letting go. And number 4, being a good steward. Asking yourself, will my life be more about me and my insecurities and my ego and all that, or will my life be about others and serving others? And so these are 4 of the secrets that are making these CEOs so successful and creating these unbelievable cultures on their team. So that was the first speaker. And then day 2 was more kind of like they jumped into the products. So Autumn, you guys all know Autumn. She's coming out with more videos on Beachbody On Demand that are going to be focused on helping people make the containers even easier with better recipes, simpler recipes. So she's going to have videos. She already has the Fixate videos where she does like cooking recipes, but she's going to come out with more videos, including the containers. I think that's going to come out like in the spring. Then there's also the 2B mindset that's going to be coming out, which is they played a few videos, and hopefully you guys got to see some of that, but it looks like this has been a game changer for people. They hired a nutritionist named Alana that has an unbelievable background, that has her own story of weight loss, and she's created this mindset around nutrition that's helping these people lose the weight and keep the weight off without even really having to do many of the workouts, just a mindset around a meal plan. So it's kind of a cool, like, interwoven mindset with nutrition and a meal plan to follow. So that's going to be coming out. The results on that were insane. They hired this guy, Luigi, who he is an MD, and he was like one of the high up guys at Herbalife. And he came over to Beachbody because he saw what they were doing with Shakeology. And he's going to be coming out with some more materials to make it easier for us to explain to people exactly what Shakeology is, instead of just putting a picture of something brown up there. They get to you're going to have some tools that are going to be not so scientific, but enough so that it's easy for them to really understand the potency of what they're getting in Shakeology and all that great stuff. So there's going to be more stuff coming out about how to talk to people about Shakeology, which is great. The Beachbody bars, the prototype. So we got to try the prototype. Those were great. Those taste. There was like a peanut butter chocolate and like a cherry. Both tasted amazing. Both, like, I think there were 10 grams of protein. They're going to be like $2. So those are going to be coming out in April, I believe. So one more continuity product for us to get in people's hands. The bars are just like blowing it up right now. People are grabbing bars left and right. So for us to have an option for people to grab bars is going to be huge. So more and more news on that coming out. And then the 80-day Obsession Challenge Pack, that releases on December 12th. And then the program, actually, with like the videos on Beachbody On Demand, that's going to come out, I believe, on January, I want to say 11th, I think it is. But right now, obviously, Double Time's going on, and the Little Obsessed sneak peek is going on as well. So those are some of the product announcements. Amy, do you want to hop in and share like some of your stuff? And then I got a couple other things to share too.
What do you want me to share on?
Want to talk about Ashley Smith. We'll talk about like the coaches, like Ashley Smith. Did you have any notes from Ashley Smith, Alyssa Shoemaker, like Haley, Barbie, any of them?
Yeah. Ashley Smith talks a lot about Instagram stories, which are huge right now. If you're not using Instagram, get on there. And if you're not using Instagram stories, get on there. Instagram stories they're just so easy to click through and see. It's basically Snapchat, but on Instagram. But you want it to be intentional. You don't want it to just be like 18 clips of you talking about nothing, or your dog 18 clips. Like, you want it to be intentional and informative, but also like giving away free things and just things that people are going to go to your page for. So like, she showed like a picture of a recipe that she would make, and then the next clip would be that same picture of the recipe, but then she would also add in, the same picture of like, it would be a plate of food, and then the next clip would be that same plate of food, but then also in writing the like ingredients or the recipe or whatever. So that's like adding free value. You want to be, people don't want to just go to your page if you're just selling stuff. If it's like every time they go, you're like, so the coaching opportunity, so my challenge group, like it has to have other things to it, but you also have to have, same with posting, like the right hook and whatnot.
Because I watch your Instagram stories, and you do a really great job of like showing, what you're making for your meals and how you make it and the ingredients and the recipes you use. Like, are you seeing like, I know I'm getting a lot of value out of it. Like, are you noticing like more interaction because you're doing things like that?
Yeah, I do get a lot more interaction on my stories. And like, anytime if I'll message someone and invite them, that's what, like 95% of the time, even if they say no, like they always mention that. But I love watching your stories. I've gotten your recipes. Like, I just had 2 people screenshot a photo and send it to me after, like, just in a private message being like, I made that quinoa butternut squash dish you made yesterday. So I think that's just like, I think people who continuously watch my stories know that they're going to get some sort of recipe or food when they, they also probably know that they're going to see some sales type of things of a challenge group or something about coaching, but they also know they're going to get the recipes and stuff, because if it was just me talking about challenge groups and just about coaching, they probably wouldn't be interested in like coming back every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely have.
And
also, yours doesn't have to be food. Like if you're like, sitting here, I hate cooking. Like that's not really something I'm interested in. Like find something that you are interested in that you can give value to. I love cooking, so that's why that's easy for me. But if it's not something, like just figure out what it is. Like Ashley Smith, for instance, like she's into a lot of different products. So like not just Beachbody things, but like she'll share her dry shampoo. She'll share, whatever her kids are, she got them at Target, or other things like that. So, or like Fabletics, like workout clothes. So she, I can always know that if I go to her page, I'll find like different products that I believe that she trusts and stuff. And it's not always just Beachbody. And it's also consistency. Like if you go to Haley Christensen, who talked as well, like I know what I'm going to get when I like click through hers. Like I'm going to see her work. I know I'll see her workout every day. Like I know she's going to talk about, how her life has changed every day. So I just feel like if people are like going to your page and like they don't have any idea what they're going to get every day, I feel like that's not something, I don't know. Like maybe you guys watch stories. Like I have a couple people that aren't even Beachbody coaches where I like going to their stories because I specifically know that I'm going to see certain things from their page. And if it's like, I click it and it's like 18 things of like their cat, I'm like, all right, done. Like, I don't want to, that's not what I came here for. Like one or two, fine. But like, so.
She said, so it was cool because they had one coach got up, Ashley Smith, and she said 80% of her business comes from Instagram. And then the next coach, she got up and talked about Facebook. So, but with Ashley Smith, she said, so 80% comes from IG. She provides a backstage pass into her life. So she said a lot of times, like there's no selling needed when people can see exactly what you're doing and your lifestyle. And so they have that backstage, the backstage pass. So there's less objections down the line, which is cool.
She'll say, and she'll like be drinking her Energize every day and call it like her mommy go-go juice, or like she'll name it something different, and then people will message her and be like, what's that? Like, I'm a mom too. Like, what is it that you're drinking?
Yeah.
So she'll say
go-go juice or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like mommy go-go juice. And then like she'll have the daily sun, like she'll call it different things for like the curiosity. So yeah, she did say that. Keep going.
She said she's engaging more closely and personally with direct messaging. So like sending people private messages on Instagram that are watching her stories and commenting on her posts and liking her posts. She's reaching out to them. She said she made like a swipe up. Sometimes she'll make a swipe up in her story, or in her Instagram story, that when they swipe up, it'll go to a YouTube video of her explaining like a longer version of who she is and her story and how she got into Beachbody and coaching everything. So it'll say like, if you're interested in learning more about what I do, swipe up. They swipe up and boom, there's a YouTube video of her sharing her full story, which is pretty cool. Okay.
And also to use, I didn't know this, but some people's accounts don't have some of these options, but like the poll option, if you like are on your Instagram and you go to use a story, I mean, you can also go to YouTube and type in like how to do Instagram stories. There would be a ton because it's hard to show you, not on your screen. But if you go to your Insta stories, there is like the polls. In a poll, you can ask a question, like what someone talked about it on the last team call. So she uses that a lot just to figure out more about her like niche. Like she's a mom of 2 kids under 2. So like she'll ask questions like, who else is a mom of 2 kids under 2? So then she'll know like, oh, I want to more closely talk to that person, or engage with them more, because like those are the people that are in her niche or whatever.
And then with Facebook, So one thing they said was to interact with your newsfeed, with people that are on your newsfeed and, your friends on Facebook, like go and like some of their photos and comment on some of their photos before right before you're going to post. It says timing of post weighs less than personal interactions. So if you do a lot of personal interaction and then you post, like your post is going to get a lot bigger reach. It's going to show up in a lot more people's newsfeed. So that's something she said to do. She said if someone comments on one of your posts, instead of just liking it, to comment back with a question to get them to re-comment. So the more comments back and forth you can get on your post, the more news feeds your post will show up on. It'll show up on more news feeds and it'll also help your future posts. Be mindful who you add to your network. So she said, like, having 5,000 friends isn't like the greatest thing. She thought it was a good idea, but she said you're better off having less, more focused group of friends. You're going to show up on more people's news feeds. Authenticity increases engagement. It's going to increase how much you show up on news feeds. So like seeing another coach's post and copying and pasting, that lowers the engagement a little bit. And then she said Facebook Lives will increase your engagement by 1,000%. Pretty big deal. So anything else from those coaches, Amy?
Haley Christensen, I'm sure you guys have all heard her talk a bunch, but a few other things that she said is like, you can go to her page and look, but kind of switching up the look of your photos. So it's not just like the same angle, same selfie in every photo. But she did say to use the same filter on all of your photos. It just looks better. What else did she say? Obviously the Instagram stories, and yeah, I don't really remember much more from that.
And then after the couple coaches spoke that second day, then does anyone know who Mel Robbins is? The 5-second rule lady. So she was one of the speakers, which was awesome. So I thought her talk was I think it was my favorite. So she's a couple of notes I wrote down. In 5 seconds, you can change anything. You can change what you're thinking about and the actions you take. When you think about courage, you think about the big stuff, but it's the small stuff that matters most. There's a difference between thinking of doing something and actually doing it. We all know what we need to do to be successful. The problem is actually getting our butt to do it. As soon as you have the thought of something you know you need to do, count back from 5 and you'll take action before the self-doubt or laziness kicks in. I wrote down in big bold to read her book and watch her videos. I want to make a video about what she talked about, the part of the brain that it activates when you count down from 5. It activates the motivational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, that's going to get you to take action. That's like the drive and self-control. So when you feel, everyone knows what we need to do, but it's getting ourselves to do it. So when you have the thought, I know I should be doing this right now, but you're like, and when you count backwards from 5, it activates the part of your brain that creates the drive and gets you going. So you're not a worrier or a procrastinator. And a lot of people say to themselves, I'm a worrier or I'm a procrastinator. You're not a worrier or a procrastinator. You just have a habit to do those things. The 5-second rule, counting backwards, breaks that habit every time. When you have that worry or that procrastination kicking in, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it activates that prefrontal cortex, which is the drive and self-control part of the brain that gets you to take action. You'll rule your mind instead of it ruling you, which 99% of people, they don't rule their mind. Their mind rules them. Every time the self-doubt, worry, or procrastination starts up, start counting backwards to fire up your brain. When you use science to trick your brain, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm excited to make this call or give this presentation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm excited to get in my inbox and do invites and follow-ups. They did a study at Harvard on this, and it activates your brain, tricks your brain into actually getting excited and driven to do those things. It was a pretty cool study to read about. If you don't use the 5-second rule for everything, use it to stop just worrying and torturing yourself. and keeping yourself down. If I were to put a speaker on the garbage going on in your head, you wouldn't be here. You'd be in an insane asylum. So all of us have like stuff going on in our head that if there was a speaker attached to it, people heard what was going on in here in this crazy mind, like you'd be in an insane asylum. That's just the human brain. It's how it works. The problem is you freaking listen to it. You're nuts. You're torturing yourself, and you don't have to. You can rule your mind. The moment that psycho speak comes up or that self-doubt comes up, do the 5-second rule, snap out of it, and do some kind of imagery. You can do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm excited. Or you can do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and think about your family. Things in your life that you're proud of. Things in your life people in your life that you want to make proud of you. You're gonna to be one decision at a time, making yourself the person that doesn't worry the crap that doesn't serve you. He just worried about being judged. He's more focused on making a difference. And great imagery or anchor thought. Great imagery or an anchor thought is your family. In 5 seconds, you can change anything. You know what you need to do. Now it's about doing it. And she gave us a website, melrobbins.com/free gift if you wanted to learn more about this. And I wrote in capital letters, I fucking love this. We think we can't, or that we aren't the one. You are the one that's born to change everything. It's going to happen 5 seconds at a time. #slight edge I wrote down. So I just really love that 5-second rule, because I know we all know what we need to be doing. And I know that our minds play tricks on us, and the self-doubt kicks in or the laziness kicks in. And this is a great little tool to defunk that crap and rewire your brain and activate the driven part of your brain versus the kind of the autopilot part of your brain, which is the limbic part, which you don't want to be living there. So that was kind of day 2. Anything else there, Amy? Anything on your notes? I got a couple things I want to talk about Milan Jensen, but anything that you had that you wanted to share?
Are you gonna go over Keisha's stuff?
Oh yeah. So I just had a couple things from Keisha. It was really just one big takeaway. One of my top takeaways from the whole weekend was, I think a lot of us, I know that this is what I do, is I paint the picture of what it's like to be a full-time coach. In my posts and everything, I talk about like the freedom of being your own boss and the freedom and, of all that, to be able to travel and do this. But a lot of people just can't relate to that yet. And I don't even think I probably would have, thinking back. So what she does is she does a great job of not painting the picture of a full-time, but she paints the picture of the power of part-time. And she starts like recognizing, part-time coaches on her team. I don't know if some of you guys might have noticed, but I did a post a couple days ago, like this weekend, about recognizing Danielle Hills, about the fact that, she made $635 last week as like a part-time thing because she's working full-time. Like that, if you tell someone they're going to make, $600 a week full-time, maybe they're not going to be so like jumping at that. But if you can show someone that they can make $635 a week part-time, you're going to have their ear. They're going to be a little bit interested. So just getting a little bit better at sharing the magic of part-time. That's something that, that Jim Rohn always talks about. If you guys ever listen to How to Build Your Network Marketing Business with Jim Rohn, if you haven't listened to that, that's something that you should definitely put on your to-do list. That's one of my favorites. Yeah. I've listened to it 100 times.
I also liked how, like Keisha said, I mean, and it's not even that she's just sharing the power part-time. Like she still talks about like her freedom now and stuff. But I just liked how she is like recognizing different coaches and attracting different people, because not everyone, like Pat was just saying, like even I don't think I would like right off of the bat before like really being interested, like actually being coach, been like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and do that. Like it just doesn't really seem realistic. Like you're in your job, you're doing your thing. And like, it would be more inspiring to scroll through your feed and be like, Carrie made $500 this week working, whatever, on top of being a full-time teacher. Like that would have resonated to me more than being like, Amy's on vacation and like she hasn't, she works on a boat and like, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it wouldn't resonate to me as much. Like, so I feel like meeting people more where they are and not being like ashamed of the fact, like, I feel like that's what I did like a lot. I didn't really paint that picture when I first was starting that I was like still working full time and like doing this. I just like almost made it make believe that like I was a health and fitness coach. Like I didn't lie and say like I was making X amount of dollars or anything, but I didn't really talk about like doing this on top of my full-time job. But I do now. I try to go back in that and say like, I worked a full-time job for 2 years. I did this on top of it. It's possible. I had the goal of quitting my job. I know that's not for everyone. And I just quickly, before we move on, I just wanted to read, Haley Christensen had a good post that she obviously took away from Keisha's call that I wanted to read really quick. She goes, I always talk about how I went from working 19 hours a day to being a free bird, but that might not be your story. Maybe you like your job, ? Maybe you don't want to be home all day. I just want to throw out a small reminder that you don't have to go into coaching as a full-time thing. But you know what I think? I think having a second stream of income is hot AF. Kind of like this, then that was like it. But I just like how she kind of like threw that out there. I know most of you are still working full-time, but to kind of be sharing that, so.
Yeah. So Milan Jensen is like one of the founding Beachbody coaches. She's actually in our upline, and she has this great concept about talking about a coach that has 500 PV and creating a team of coaches that have 500 PV versus trying to focus just on rank. So she talked about like what she calls her healthy formula. So make fitness fun, nutrition simple, and support people to keep them on track. That's her simple system. So having 500 PV coaches, creating recognition around that, showing. So she showed a pic of an Emerald coach that had got to Emerald and had an Emerald on each side that was 500 PV, and those two coaches, and they each had two coaches that had 500 PV. I think, Amy, I don't remember if you remember, but I think there was like maybe 6 coaches in the coaches organization. But the 6 coaches that were in their organization all had 500 PV. Not just sell the challenge pack to a customer and then, okay, that person bought a challenge pack from me, I'm done with them. It's no like, how can I continue to work with these customers? How can I continue to find people that I can support and get that PV up to 500 as a coach individually and help my coaches get 500 PV? And this Emerald coach that had like 6 coaches in their downline that had all 500 PV was making $500 a month just from Team Cycle Bonus. It's not life-changing, but as an Emerald coach that's making $500 a month in the Team Cycle Bonus, that's pretty cool compared to a Diamond coach that's just bare bones Diamond, has 8 coaches below them, all with just the minimum 90 PV from Shakeology. That coach is only making $48 for a Team Cycle Bonus every month. So a Diamond bare bones coach makes $48 a month in a Team Cycle Bonus, and an Emerald that's building these 500 PV coaches are making 500 team volume or Team Cycle Bonuses. And she has a whole page on this.
Was it 500 a month for the 5-week period or 500 a week?
I think it was 500.
500.
I think for the Emerald, it was just they made $500 that month just from their team bonus.
I know, but was it the 500? Is it 500 PV per person a month?
I think it's 500 PV for the month.
Okay, because I was just going to show you guys, it's not going to show you your entire downline, but in your sponsorship drill down, if you look at it, you can see who brings in how much PV for the month. Yeah. From your coaches. So like you can see like clearly like Susie, like she brings in a lot. This is my second business center. So you can see like who, and this is for a 5-week period.
So yeah, that's it. That's what she was talking about. So when you go in there, and so creating a culture of not coaches that have like 90 PV, but creating a culture that helps coaches focus on getting to 50 PV what it does is it helps coaches focus on their customers more. Because if they're in a culture of coaches that are getting 500 PV and they want 500 PV, they're going to be really focused on their customers and helping their customers, get the programs and products they need, and then supporting them on that. And if you create a team of these 500 PV coaches, you're creating a team of leaders. You're creating that's where the growth is compared to just bringing in a bunch of discount coaches and hitting diamond, which is great, but you're better off focusing on helping these coaches get to 500 PV coaches than trying to just get to a bare bones diamond with all discount coaches, was what she was saying. So diamond strong. Oh, okay. So then she showed us a diamond strong. So what she calls, she created like her own rank. It's like a diamond that has like 500 these 500 PV coaches, not just these discount coaches. And the diamond strong coach, that's just a diamond, not like a star diamond or anything, but just had a bunch of these 500 PV coaches on their team, these 500 PV emeralds on their team. That coach, that diamond strong coach, was making $4,000 a month just from the team cycle bonus. So if you're interested in learning more about like the fact that creating emeralds and these 500 PV coaches is kind of the way to go if you want to create leaders and long-term growth, then she has a Facebook group where she talks more about this and coaches share, their ideas and things going back and forth. The name of that group is called the Diamond Strong Project. And it's for all I'll type it in here, the Diamond Strong Project. So that's for any Beachbody coach that wants to join. And she's in our upline. So I'm actually going to make a note to get her on a team call. I think that'd be a great team call. All right, cool. So anybody know who Josh Spencer is? So Josh Spencer was like the top coach back in 2010. And he got Lyme disease last year and was going through all this stuff, and his business was kind of taking a hit because he couldn't really put much time into it because he was really sick. And he got up and he just talked about how he's reinvented himself and how his business was kind of the beginning of the year last year was kind of staying the same or going down. And now in the second half of this year has exploded again. And it's because he kind of just reinvented himself, and he uses this 4-step process for himself and for his team. It's really quick. So step 1, embrace and accept failure. You guys might want to write this down. This is really great to use for anything. So step 1, embrace and accept failure. Step 2, actually write down why you feel you failed with it. So embrace and accept the failure. Step 2, write down and ask yourself why you think you failed. We've all failed. So there's so many things that we failed at that we, number 1, need to embrace and accept. And number 2, we need to write down why we think we failed at it. Number 3, step 3, write down ideas to change it. And step 4, take action now. Embrace and accept failure. Write down why you feel you failed. Write down ideas to change it. Take action. There it is. So that was Josh's little thing that I really loved. Anything else, Amy, that you had in your notes that you want to share?
No.
Got everything? One other thing I wrote that Melanie Mitro said was she started running her challenge groups like test groups. So I've been in a few of these Beachbody test groups. The 3 times in my life that I've been in the best shape of my life by far has been when I've been asked to be in a Beachbody test group. It's just kind of how it is, because you just show up and do it. And so if you can turn your challenge groups into a test group and actually have the reason that is with those test groups works is because you have to submit your before photos and your after photos and your progress photos along the way. So I knew I was going to have to do that. So I just stepped up everything to do that. If you create a test group environment in your challenge groups, your challengers are going to get much better results. They're going to be much more likely to want to introduce it to their friends and maybe even become a coach. And if you have like if you have coaches on your team that are discount coaches or maybe are falling off and they're with the business, but they just need something to kind of like re-engage, the number one tip you can give a coach that's fallen off is to re-engage by picking a program and doing it all the way through with the meal plan and just sharing that. That's the number one thing. So if you can get a bunch of your coaches that are, discount or falling off or struggling or something, or you're just yourself, and commit to a challenge group like a test group, it's going to do big things. So another thing that they do is when they introduce a new coach into their groups, they always say where they met them. It helps kind of get other coaches on the team kind of starting to understand, okay, where are people finding people that are ending up becoming coaches? Josh Spencer also said, do voice message and get on the phone rather than just texting or writing a Facebook message. I know sometimes it takes a little more time to do a voice message. He said that he did a split test and the conversion rate on the people he did the voice message with versus the written Facebook message was like a joke. It was like 5 times more people because I got to hear his voice. He said, I think this is Tracy Morrow's line, you can't hug someone through a phone and you can't hug someone through a voice message, but it's a lot closer to it than someone just reading what you wrote. Okay. Oh, another idea they had was like to do a book club in like a private, in your challenge group or in a group you already have going, like pick a book that everyone does and then go live every day in your group to share your top takeaway and start to create a culture of your challengers or your free people in their groups. Start a culture of them going live. Start to encourage them to go live so that they start to feel more comfortable with that. Let's see. To cut through the noise of social media, you have to run free groups to attract your tribe. Lindsay Matway talked about that. She said there's so much noise on social media. If you want to attract your tribe, do a free group focused around you and your specific avatar, like the person you want to attract. Like she said, she posted a thing that she was going to do a free group for mothers that had daughters that were ages 8 to 12. And like that was who she was looking for. And it really like narrowed people down. And when they saw, when people that were in that niche saw that, they were like, oh my God, that's me. Like how rare is that? So she got people messaging her. The last thing Carl said, he kind of ended it. He had us count up how many personally sponsored coaches we had and write that number down on a piece of paper. So if you guys want to do that, you can guess how many personally sponsored coaches you have. And then he said, all right, now you know that number, multiply that by 5. And that's how many challenge packs you and your personally sponsored coaches are going to sell this month. And he had like a couple people stand up and tell them their number. He said he called over to Julie Voris. He was like, "What's your number?" And I think she had like 20 personally sponsored coaches, so her number was 100. 20 times 5. And he's like, "Is it possible that you and your team could get 100 new people into a challenge group with a challenge pack this month?" And his thing was he wanted her to say, "It's totally possible." It's because we're so quick to jump to, I don't think I can. Like that sounds like a lot. But if you can get in the mindset of it's totally possible, things start to happen that probably wouldn't have otherwise. He actually came up to me in the hallway and said the same thing to me. He was like, "Pat, what's your number?" And then I told him, and he was like, "Is it possible?" And I was like, "It's totally fucking possible." And he's like, "That's my boy. Let's go." Fist pump. So just getting into this like mindset of it's totally possible. It's totally possible. And you're going to hear, you probably have already heard Autumn say it on her live workouts. She's been mentioning it. It's totally possible. Carl's going to keep saying it on his posts if you follow him. It's totally possible. Just a new mindset instead of jumping to, that sounds too big. I don't think I can do that, blah, blah, blah. It's why not? It's totally possible. It's possible. And then when you come from that mindset, you're going to get a lot more done. So that's all we got from leadership. Any questions? We got like 3 minutes left. And then we got the coach sneak peek in the No Boss Life group, I think, going on at 9 o'clock Eastern. Any questions from anybody?
I also just want to mention that getting Summit is amazing, obviously, but getting to these smaller events, you can connect with coaches so much easier on different teams. You can have smaller conversations. It's my favorite event ever was the New Leader Conference that I went to 2 years ago, just because it was all coaches, the same position as me. Everyone there was hungry. Everyone was, building at the same pace or rank or whatever. So it was just cool. I still talk to 2 girls that I met at New Leader 2.5 years ago, and Megan Elaney, I met her last year or 2 years ago at the 5-Star Leadership, and we talk all the time, and I hung out with her a lot of the time when we were there. So just getting and qualifying for these events it's just another event to get to, and it's refueling your fire every time, because I know for myself, I definitely go through lulls and you're by yourself working at your computer. It's just every quarter to get to an event and be surrounded by people. So obviously your Super Saturdays, those are so easy to get to, and they don't cost you more than even if you have to drive 2 hours, it can't cost more than $50 to get there. So getting to those, obviously really, really pushing. I know it's far away, but the New Leader next year is totally possible for every single person on this call. You just have to be a 1-star to get there. And that just means you being a diamond and you personally sponsoring one person that's a diamond. It's totally possible, even if you don't have another coach doing it, because you could get your husband or your spouse or your family member to diamond and get to that event next year. And then any of you that are sitting here, it's totally possible even if you're not a diamond, but any of you who are sitting here at diamond or higher, you 100% should be at the 5-Star Leadership Retreat in October. You have plenty of time to qualify for that event. So don't, push it off that it seems too far off for you. So just wanted to say that.
It's totally possible. I love it. That's going to be Carl's new hashtag left and right now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's all we got, guys. Little boom on 3. And then if you guys want to hop over in the group is called That No Boss Life, November 7th sneak peek. If you guys want to watch some of us go live, I'm going to unmute everybody real quick, and we'll do a little boom, and we're going to crush November. Let's see. Where's everybody? Unmute. All right. I want a real enthusiastic boom out of y'all. I know some of you guys don't think it's cool. This is what we do, back in the day in the sports team in the huddle before a big game, before the big week. So let's go. Everything we've got. Boom on 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom! Let's go. It's totally possible. Love it. All right. Thanks for hopping on, guys. See you guys.